Good day. Good day. Thank you so much for coming in and watching the Legacy Continues podcast. I think we always have wonderful people who come and share their stories with us to show what God has done and is doing in their lives. And as we work to build a legacy worth leaving, I just love those that we've got come and share. And today I have got a special, wonderful friend, a wonderful graduate of the program, part of someone who plays an integral part of Our Lady's success here at the Lovelady Center, and it is an honor to have her. So we want to welcome Connie Farrell, who's come to join me today. And I didn't give her much of a warning, but when I realized that she had not shared her story, I'd always thought that Connie had shared with Mom, and I tried to do different people, and then I realized that she hadn't. So I was like, well, then you've got to come share with me. So thank you so much for agreeing to come today. And
Glad to be here.
so how long have I known you? I can't remember. It's been
a very long time.
I know. It's what I was thinking.
So I came into the program July, actually. It's been 13 years exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And after a good threat from the judge to, take a long vacation on the state.
Is that what we call it? A long vacation from
just
the
taking
state.
a little vacation on the state, but not a vacation that I'd ever care to take.
All
again.
right.
So
Okay.
he ordered me here for actually 3 years.
Well, look,
I've been here for 13.
Okay, you were court ordered here 3 years.
For 3 solid.
You were court ordered 3 years here.
Yes.
Well.
Yes. I'm doing 13 now.
Doing 13 now. Yeah. The Lord court ordered you a little longer.
Absolutely.
Okay, I like that. Well, let's tell a little bit of your story. Let's go back before what brought you to Lovelady other than the judge in his 3 years. What brought you to Lovelady?
The regular story. I had a good life when I was younger and had kids and was working, had a home, car, job, all of the things that you'd want to have in life. Yeah. And the wrong people got mixed up with the wrong people. And it turned into not such a good life. And I ended up losing absolutely everything, and including my kids, my freedom. And
how long did it take you to lose everything?
2-3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it
happened fast.
Yeah. So you didn't live that crazy life for a long time, but.
No, there was always growing up. I was the youngest of 6 kids, and I hate to blame it on situational stuff, but I was the youngest of 6 kids. And I'm
trying to decide, does that mean you're spoiled? Does that mean...
Well, both. It means all of the above.
You got away with a lot more?
Okay. So I got away with a lot more, and I looked innocent, so, that was always a big get away with things kind of place to be in my life. But it also introduced me to older people. Okay. So that was already experimenting with things that I had no business looking at certain ages.
It grasped you at a very young age.
It did. I thought it was very cool to smoke weed at like 12, and that doesn't make sense to me anymore. Like when you look back.
Because it doesn't make sense. Where
is your 12-year-old?
Yeah.
But... And my parents both worked. It's not like they were bad, and they didn't just leave me out to the wolves or anything. They both worked, and so it left the olders looking over me, and the olders were already smoking marijuana and things and drinking and things. So,
and I know I've always, as you reflect on your parents, I've always heard you just honor them. So I knew that I knew that you had. So much. I knew you had honorable parents, good parents. So
yes.
So you dabbled with it, didn't see any danger with it, but then evidently there was a point where you went up.
Well, nobody knew back then.
Okay.
No, it wasn't spoke of like it is now. Nobody really knew the dangers of that and where it would lead to next, and we didn't hear the word gateway drug or anything like that ever. And so, of course, the older you get, the more you get in tune with, and I'll try this, haven't tried that yet, and then it just turns into things. And then you kind of just grow out of it. And I think that's kind of where my parents were with me. Oh, it's just a phase. She'll grow out of it. She's living her teenage years. And I did for someone. I went to college and, had jobs and became a tax-paying citizen and had, the whole marriage and everything and houses. And then I didn't. And because one drug, and which was methamphetamine, that just snatched me out of a loop. I mean, it just put me in a place where I think the addiction happened that second, and it escalated that day.
Did you know that over 40% of our clients, so we have over 500 women in our program on a regular basis, and 40% that is the drug that took them to that place.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it makes you feel just so like you can do anything. It makes you feel like you are so powerful and smart, and I'm getting so much done, but you're working in circles and you're not getting anything done, especially like going to work and getting that job done, like for money, so you kind of lose everything so quickly. And I'm kind of glad that happened very fast, because I would hate to know that I was still struggling in that area. And I see that. And I think that God lined up so many things in my life to make it happen that fast, so that I could get to a certain point, so that I could be where I am today.
Right, right.
So, yeah.
So you did go to prison.
I did.
For how long did you have to go to prison?
I was locked up for 2 years, 6 months, and 13 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and then after prison, did you mess up or get?
Of course.
Of course. Okay.
Yes.
So you did your prison. So you did your prison time, then got out, did some more stupid time.
Yes.
Okay, and then went to the judge again, as the judge says, instead of sending you to prison, we're sending you to the Lovelady Center for 3 years.
That is not exactly how that went. He first told me that there was no rehabilitating a drug dealer, because he thought that's what I was, because the amount that was at the house. But
Okay.
And there was a little bit of that going on. Well, a lot of bit of that going on, but
A lot of a little bit.
but that's just what you did. And in my way of thinking, that's just what you did to take care of yourself and your drug addiction.
Okay.
So he literally told me, I'm not sending you to, there's no rehabilitating a drug dealer. And I was like, no, like, that's not who I am. Like, I'm begging you for help. And crazy things happened. So I was in jail. I don't know if I've told you this or not, but and it's crazy because I've known you for so long. I feel like you should know everything about me. But there was a weekend there was a Friday that I went to court, and the judge was literally, and the DA, everybody had it set up. I was to do 25 years in prison. He was giving me a 15 and then concurrent, consecutive, not concurrent, 10 years on top of that. So he was going to make sure that I did all 25 years. Okay. And I was in agreement to it. I didn't know that there was any way out, and my charges were horrible, and I'd already been, and just, I didn't know there was any fighting it. And so I was like, oh, this is my life now, and
I'm telling you, this just blows my mind, because just knowing you and knowing who I've known you to be, just that you were looking at something that massive. And I know at the time I knew that you were sentenced 3 years here, but I that's still, because nobody gets sentenced 3 years. Because I don't like 3 year sentence to hear.
Well,
but I'm so glad you were.
Well, that had to be the agreement.
Yeah.
So that Friday I had agreed. And it was the DA that was pushing it. She was sick of me. She just, hey, we have got to get this person off the streets. And I'm glad you didn't know me at that time, because I don't know if the love would be the same. Because it took a lot for me to love myself again.
Okay.
But anyway, so that weekend I went back to and I've always believed in God. I'm telling you, I've always known there was a God. I just didn't. I thought He was overlooking me. But it was me overlooking Him.
Okay.
And so the most sincere prayer I'd ever said in my entire life was...
Is this in jail?
In jail.
Okay.
And I go back, and, when you first come back from court, everybody says, well, how'd it go? What do you do? Are you getting out and all this? I'm like, I'm never getting out. And so my prayer that day was, God, turn me into the person that I have to be to get through this, because I wanted to go down there and kill myself, because I didn't want to see my kids grow up at visitation. I didn't want to hear that I'd had grandkids or my kids had gotten married or at that time graduated high school, like
Because were they were teenagers?
they were teenagers.
Okay.
And so I didn't want
And you have
to.
two children, right?
I've got a young man, Blake, and my daughter, is April. She's better known as Sissy. And they're amazing people. They've just always been so amazing in their imaginations, and they just live amazing lives, and they're just wonderful people. And you would have thought that would have been a good reason for me to stay clean, but drugs don't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. It's a power that's inside that you can't fight. But anyway, so I go back to my cell, and or it's a dorm style, and I'm praying to God to turn me into a person that I'd have to be to make it through that, to shut my mind off, to shut my heart off, so that I could get through that. So that was my prayer for the weekend, and I'm supposed to go back to court that Monday just for technicalities, just for the judge to drop the gavel and say, this is your sentence, and I sign the paperwork and go. But instead, the judge is telling me, hey, I got a letter this weekend, and unbeknownst to me, I had no idea. It was from Annette had the Lovelady Center sent a letter. And I was like, okay, you got a letter. Yay. Like, okay. He says, it was from the Lovelady Center. Okay. And because at this time, I'm still 25 years is going through my head, just can we get this over with so I can go? My mom's over here crying, like, get me out of here. And so, and I didn't really know why my mom was there because I'd told her, hey, this is going to be the deal. I'll see you when I see you. And so he said it took so long. It felt like forever for me to understand what he was telling me because he kept saying, I'm considering the Lovelady Center for you. And I was like, do they have a Lovelady at Tutwiler? I don't understand what you're saying. I mean, in my mind, 25 years, And he says, I am thinking of sending you to the Lovelady Center. And I finally just threw my hands up and I said, Your Honor, I have no idea how that's going to work. I said, how can I do the Lovelady Center and prison? Because do they have a program like that in prison? He said, let's quit talking about prison. And I was like, wait, what?
I've got no problem talking about prison.
No problem. Stop talking about prison. Yeah. And it just felt like somebody had kicked me in the stomach because I thought then he's playing with my emotions because that doesn't happen.
Okay.
I've already agreed to the 25 and the DA sitting over there tapping her foot, know? And so when I finally figured out that he was talking about the Lovelady Center, and he said, but it's 3 years. And I said, I literally, in my crazy brain at that time, leaned over and told my attorney, I said, they have like 28-day programs now, right?
That's terrible.
I'm joking. And I was like, is he talking about sending me to the Lovelady for 3? And he said, do you want prison for 25 or do you want the Lovelady for 3? I said, I'll take the Lovelady for 3. And so here I sit 13 years later.
Wow. That is, and I knew the story, but I not to that depth. And I love how, and I know Annette has been in your corner for forever. Annette being one of she's been in our corner since Mom and I were going to prison and ministering in prison. So she was at the Birmingham work release. That is absolutely beautiful. So you come here to the Lovelady Center, with a 3-year sentence, and I loved when you were talking about that you had asked God to shut your heart off to be able to do the 25 years. But the woman that I know here, the last thing you have is a shut off heart.
It has no shut off.
It does no. I know that. I know, and so God was preparing you for something better, something more clearly. So you come into Lovelady where you, and I think you were glad to be at Lovelady, but not really ready to transition. Is that
very true?
Okay,
very true.
Tell a little bit about that journey.
Okay, so in the beginning when I first got here, I hear people all the time say, oh, when you walk in the door, you just feel the love. But I was unlovable to myself. I knew that other people loved me, my mom and my family and everybody and my kids. And I just knew that they loved me. And that's why I was willing to do this.
Okay.
You know, it is, I will please my mom, I will please my children, and I will please the judge. When they stand, I'll stand. When they raise their hands, I'll raise my hands. When they bow, I'll eat like they eat. You know, and so it was all just me following motions. And somebody said to me one time, and it was like so impactful at the time, and said, "Fake it till you forget you're faking, and not fake it till you make it. You know, fake it till you forget that you're faking it." And through these years, it has been, God has just taken over my way of thinking so much that I quit. I forgot I was faking many years ago, but there was still several years that it took me to get there. And actually, and I can tell you the moment that happened, and that's kind of a long story, but I'd just gotten a single room here, and I'd planned to go out.
I do know this story. Go ahead. You can share it.
You want to share that?
Yeah, go. I mean, go, quickly, but yes,
Okay.
yes.
So I was in my own room, had just gotten my own room here, and that's a big deal here. So I had plans. I had it all set up that when I left here, I was going to go get high. I had it worked out to where my mom wouldn't know. She was coming to get me. You know, I was going to meet somebody here in the bathroom and all this. You know, it was a big deal. I had it all worked out. And I sit down on the side of my bed, and I'm like, "What are you doing? You've been clean for over a year. Like, what are you doing?" And so I just went in a very deep prayer and was asking God, you know, everybody keeps telling me to give it to you, and I don't really know what that looks like, but here I am. I'm giving this to you. Please do. You breathe this whole universe with a breath. You can stop this, you know. And I finally just said, "Do whatever you have to do. No, I'm giving it to you." And so as soon as I said amen out of that prayer, my phone rang, and it was my precious mama. And she was telling me no for one of the first times ever in her life, saying that she said, "You're going to be really mad at me." She said, "But I just can't come get you this weekend." And my bags are already packed on my bed, you know, I was waiting to go. And I said, "I'm not not mad at all." I said, "You know what? I need the rest. I'll just sit here and, you know, hang out at the Lovelady this weekend." And never was mad about it. And
So an answered prayer.
I saw God working so fast in that moment. And I was like, "You heard me," you know, and it just felt so good that I knew for a 100% fact, "You heard me. Amen. You're here with me."
Yeah.
And so it was that moment I was like, "Hey, prayer, that's the way to go. Hey, have you thought that?" I've got a sign on my door that says, "Did you think to pray?"
So, and that was a year after being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm grateful that you had a 3-year sentence and not a 9 to 12 month
I
sentence.
should have been a graduate at that time.
Yeah.
Well, I was a graduate at that time.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's beautiful that and God protected you and I'm so grateful that He did. So as we transition, as I've seen the Lord you grow in so many ways over the years. So you became so you were working in our education department.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
and you when I watch your passion with our with the education and you celebrate every GED, every certificate, every degree. I mean everything that you
They
see.
work so hard for
And
it.
you work so hard at helping them, and it's absolutely beautiful. And that didn't happen overnight. Our education department has come so far under your supervision. It's been beautiful. How did that come about?
Oh, wow. Okay, so my first job here, is, you know, my job readiness position was tutoring.
Okay.
And in the beginning, I remember we used to tape test everybody, so I made pretty good scores, and I'd always been a good student in school. And so I made good scores, and Miss B, my supervisor, that was,
We love Miss B.
I love her,
Yeah.
amazing lady,
Yeah.
and I hope she's doing well.
Yes.
She asked me to be a tutor, and so I was like, okay, but I was getting nervous, you know, and I was thinking, am I good enough for this, you know? And I taught my kids after school, helped them with homework and things like that, tutored a few people in college and high school, so I was a little intimidated. So I understand when I ask somebody, "Do you want to be a tutor here?" And they're like, "I don't know if I can do that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't either."
Okay.
But not long after I graduated, Miss B was going on a missions trip. And you called me to your office and was like, "Hey, do you think you want to to take Miss B's place and be the director over the education department. And I knew immediately, I didn't have to think about that. I'd been down here for a year, and I'd had all these things in my head. And so I was like, yes, let me do that. And so I started reaching out to schools and colleges. And, hey, what do you have? What are y'all's plans? How would, and so now we have contracts with, many schools and maybe not contracts, but MOUs and very good partnerships.
Yeah.
So a lot of contracts.
And so, why did that become such a passion of yours? Because you went from not even sure if you wanted to tutor to, yeah, I'll take it. Because and I know for me, I think it's so empowering to the women, and so many of them like don't know what they're capable of, and they've limited themselves, but God wants to equip and empower, and I feel like that's our education department does a lot of that. What is there anything you want to add to that? Or
I know this. I know that if you don't do something to better yourself, and you have all the opportunities here, if you don't do something to better yourself, if you're just riding through, then then there's only one thing we changed, and that was we got you off drugs. And I used to hear you say it, and that sounded crazy to me, that's not our number one goal.
No. Again, there's so much. What I say is there's so much more to life than sobriety.
Is.
Sobriety is important. It's a key. It's a key. It's important, but it's not that the Lord has created you for a reason, and so much more than just to be sober.
Yeah.
But there's passion, and He's equipped you. There's passion in there. We just got to find it.
Yeah. How beautiful would it be if every single lady that left this program became successful? What a world we would live in.
Right. Much better world than we live in, right? Because especially and I know I'm a little biased to Loveladies, but just there's such perseverance, determination, and just beauty and strength, and if we could get out of the enemy's bondage and be free to be who God created us to be. We would be to me would be a different nation.
It'd be a whole different world.
Yeah. So I wanted, because I know I don't have a whole lot of time. There's so much about that, especially when we talk about the legacy continues, and we briefly mentioned your children, and that I know that 2 kids, and they were teenagers, and so and I know that you and your daughter just recently went on a mission trip to Kenya, right?
Yes, we did.
And how exciting that was, and I love that y'all together went on this mission trip, and I've loved to see how you've got such a close, beautiful family, and how close y'all, but despite just the restoration that I've seen, and how beautiful y'all are. Share a little bit about that.
Okay, so we've had our ups and downs. Me and my kids share such a bond. It's unbelievable. Even when I was bad, it was there. But they've always been my favorite people on the planet, and they just are my best friends, and I just love them up,
Yeah.
So my daughter has recently been. She's on this spiritual journey that is so beautiful to watch. That is, it's still new and fresh, and it's just it's like opening up your biggest surprise at Christmas.
Yeah, I love this. Beautiful. Yeah.
And so I'm loving it. She's just tugging her husband every Sunday going to church, and they're church shopping sort of right now.
Okay.
So they're trying to find their footing in a church. And she has signed up for Bible studies for me for all next year. So she's really curious. She wants all the answers. She wants to know what every word means when she reads it in the Bible, And so when I first got invited to the missions trip to Kenya, she's my travel partner.
Okay.
We've traveled all over the place together, and we'll get on a plane or a bus or in a car real quick and go somewhere and travel. And so she was the first person I thought of when I got invited, and I was like, hey, can I take my travel partner with me, my daughter, and I think this would be a good opportunity for her. And they were like, sure, bring her on, And, it's crazy because the whole time I was talking Kenya, and we knew for 6 months out that we were going and had all this time to plan. and all the time. And there was even a time that I was like, is this for me? Am I going on a missions trip, or am I going on another vacation, or another trip?
Right.
And so I started praying real heavy about how do I fit in? What am I doing? What's my purpose? How am I being led to this? And I think I didn't find out until I got there that it was about my daughter.
Okay.
While I was so thrilled, couldn't believe the whole time that I was there, just couldn't believe it. But I think it was more about her. But the whole time I was like, Lord, I'm here. Like I'm right beside her. If you want to use me, use me. And if anything, and you know how you go through, like, it's almost like a dry spell, and you just keep begging God, talk to me some more. Talk to me. I need to hear from you. I want to hear from you. And I heard from him more in that trip then, and it was more just a me connecting with God and her going out. Yeah, I think she's getting her footing on what maybe her cause is in this world.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so
that's
I think
beautiful.
I think it was about her new life to her, and I think it was so that I could hear from God. God is there, and gosh, we have so much static here.
And I think as we get into that day to day, and
Yes.
you're every day you're going about and you're getting this system and you're doing these processes and everything, that it's so when you remove yourself
Yes.
from that everyday one, so that's one, like if you feel that disconnect or you're, and I don't know about disconnect, but you're not feeling like you're hearing or growing as much as you want to, and you feel a little stuck in Christ. It's like, okay, how do I get out of this? I definitely, the mission field is definitely a beautiful, wonderful place.
Yes.
It takes the distractions away, and you're in that mode. But yes, we do have a lot of static here. And
Yeah, even if we like cut our phones off, shut the TV down, sit and try to just go deep in prayer. How about we're doing it from a very comfortable couch?
Yeah.
Or, we go outside and get in our car and we just use this little key and we just crank it right up and we just drive right off. And people there appreciate every single thing they have. And they don't, I did not know what I had. I had no idea what I had. I feel so wealthy today.
Yeah.
And it may not even just be money, but I have stuff, a lot of stuff that I've never appreciated. And it has given me and her both. We come home and started shutting down streaming channels. I mean, there's so many things that we have started eliminating from our lives that money needs to go somewhere else.
Okay.
It's not you think in 2025 that the world is okay. Like, oh, everybody's got this, or everybody. No,
there's
they
people.
don't.
There's have the number of people who don't have running water in their house,
which was the case where we went.
Yeah, no, that don't. I mean, don't even have a television. Which that's not, when you're talking about running water, that's not that deep. But the percentages, it's crazy. It's mind blowing. So I love that, as we've heard. You've gone from a place where you lost everything to drugs and that lifestyle, and then how the Lord has restored is absolutely.
Too much.
Now you're talking about having too much, but you're a homeowner. You're you very active with your family. You're the director of our education department, and if what would have happened 13 years ago, you would still be sitting in prison. And you think about the lives that you have impacted, that you have changed, the legacy that you're building, but then now you see your daughter jumping on, and I know that you're equally as proud as your son, and how
absolutely,
he's
my comedy relief.
And he's got your back when you're out of the country. That's for sure.
For his mama, that's for sure.
That was duly noted while you were gone, for sure. And so I just love to see how God has moved in your life. I know we got to wrap it up. I've got to. These are just because you're one that a lot of our grads listen to and hear. Just quick few questions, one word, 2 words each question.
Gotcha.
It's called the rapid fire legacy reflections. All right. Okay. One word to describe your journey.
Amazing. All struggling.
All struggling. There you go.
Yes.
A song that represents your life now.
Redeemed.
Okay. I love it. A woman in the Bible that you relate to the most.
More Mary than Martha.
Okay. A combination of both, but more Mary than Martha. That's what. Okay. One thing that you hope the world knows about women like us.
Oh, that we are redeemable.
Amen. We
Yes.
all are.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
that good?
beautiful. I love it. I love it. Love it. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for being on. Thank you for watching. I
you.
hope that you were encouraged. And I say this all the time. If the Lord did it for her, He'll do it for you. And that's why we love sharing testimonies, what God has done, and just to reflect on that we can build a legacy worth living, that worth leaving behind. And I know that Connie has and is doing that. And I just want to encourage you that you can too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.